Time and tide waits for no man. Time and tide. Or is it time or tide? No, it's time and tide waits for no man. I heard that on the Honeymooners. It's Ed Norton said that. Time flies. I was just discussing. Oh, hi there. Welcome to Progressive Discussions. This is Progressive Discussions. It is Saturday, April 21st, 2012. And we're coming to you from the Newsletter Censored Research Center in northeastern New Jersey. And it is a lovely spring day. It's supposed to be 73 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's breezy. It's a little humid, but, you know, it's not that bad. Anyway, but the temperature will get down into the 50s tonight.
And then we're supposed to have 3 days of rain.
We're going to have a lot of rain tomorrow, Sunday.
Which we need the rain.
Because the reservoirs are low.
But we do not need a flood.
Torrential rain,
Yeah.
which causes a flooding.
Yeah.
But the reservoirs are low.
Yes, they are.
Now, what I was talking to Bill about is he told me, you know, when I mentioned what date it was, he goes, my God, April sure is flying fast. Well, that's why I said time and tide wait for no man. And I thought about the Honeymooners. Yeah, time sure does fly, because I remember vividly when I was in high school. I remember a lot of things, you know. I guess long-term memory tends to be better for me, a lot better than short-term memory.
You say that losing short-term memory is one of the first signs of dementia.
Well, not to the point where I'm losing and misplacing things. I don't lose or misplace things. And I do know, you know, I do have a recollection of the present and what happened yesterday. I mean, you know, don't make it sound like I'm...
It took me 2 days last week to come up with solar plexus.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah.
It's a nerve, vital nerve.
But,
yeah.
I needed to come up with it, and it did not come up.
What do you mean come
For
up?
2 days with it. Think about it.
Oh, what it's called.
It did not come.
What
Yes.
it's called.
It did not come to me.
Why is the
such a fashion.
why is the word solar involved in solar plexus? I have no idea. But anyway, let's commence with my little introduction. I don't have much of an introduction, so it's going to have to be solely based on our recent newspaper articles. But I like to mention, first I like to show something that I've shown in the past. I get this in the mail. Looks like a government check. It's got the Statue of Liberty on it, right?
Your car is waiting.
It has the little window in the envelope, right? See it? See it? Looks like a government check, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, guess what? Guess again. You open it up, and lo and behold, we have a spam advertisement, which I consider it, from Glenn Toyota of Fair Lawn, New Jersey. You've been pre-qualified for financing.
Hey.
And it's made out to $29,995.00. Isn't that lovely? Glenn Toyota. So they're starting to use what looks like a legitimate, serious government check. All right, got that? It's bullshit. Well, this is just the tiny tip of the iceberg of how sleazy business is in this American capitalist system. I did forget to do one thing. And we're back. I'm sorry for that rude interruption. It was my mistake. I forgot to disengage the phone. Okay, we won't be needing that ridiculous thing from the car dealer.
Oh, geez! Now there goes your car down the drain.
Oh yeah, my
$29,000.
my $30,000 Toyota is lost. Pre-qualified for financing. Yeah. It looks like a government check. All right, now I just wanted to tell American men out there want to warn you, for those of you that are trying to make an attempt to look outside of the United States of America for your significant other, for a wife, for a serious long-term relationship, be very careful, because with all of the international online dating websites out there, it is very common. I was explained this by somebody that works for the government. It's very common for many of these quote unquote ladies, and I will use that term loosely, to prey upon American men and basically put on the world's greatest acting audition, and in some cases behave like glorified prostitutes, in case the American man is old and rich and has one foot on the banana peel, you know, like sort of like
the other foot on the grave.
And yeah, that's what I meant. And like Anna Nicole Smith, when she was alive, and she married the rich 90-year-old tycoon, and he met her in a go-go bar. Perfect example. But anyway, these immigrant women pretend, in many cases, to be in love, and they use the American man just to get a permanent residency, a green card, and particularly the problem arises when they get the green card with the conditions lifted. And then they can leave, from what I understand, they can leave without an explanation and break the guy's heart and dump him and just take off. And then they try to sponsor their relatives and bring them over into the United States from other countries. And then there's also the women south of the border, the young ladies that conveniently, while they're about 7 or 8 months pregnant, let's say 8 months, conveniently cross the border to give birth in the United States of America.
Anchor babies.
They're called anchor babies. Okay, just beware, right? That's all I could say about that.
Some years ago, that was happening a lot with Russian women.
Yeah, the mail order brides from Eastern Europe, from the Russian women.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Russian women are very assertive and brazen and about their objective. They'll rudely ask you point blank questions about your finances, and some Asians will do that too. But
isn't it strange that prostitution is illegal in Colombia?
Oh yeah, Colombia, South America, the Cartagena, Colombia, the prostitute that blackmailed the.
She didn't blackmail. The guy didn't pay her.
The guy paid her $30 instead of.
Her charge was $200.
Oh, I thought I heard.
I thought I heard 800.
I thought I heard 800, but
yeah.
800 for.
But she would accepted 200.
But even 200 in Colombian pesos is a lot of money, isn't it?
Maybe it wasn't in pesos. I don't know.
It was in dollars, but I mean, they're not worth that much. I mean, give me a break. $200 is a lot of money in Colombia.
My point is, Colombia sort of palms itself off as a highly religious country.
Yeah,
of Catholic origin.
Well, Mexico is like that.
Yeah, so I'm saying, how did prostitution become legalized?
Well, isn't it funny?
We can't do it here.
Isn't it funny that countries that historically are predominantly Catholic and were originally Spanish colonies of Spain, tend to have a tremendous amount of corruption and shenanigans and foul play?
They all are corrupt.
Isn't it funny how they all are so corrupt? The governments, all these governments of these third world countries that were originally colonies of Spain, but the colonies of Britain, of England, seem to be much more civilized.
They're all corrupt.
Even the colonies of England.
We just went through a financial meltdown in 2008 in the great state of America.
What does that have to do with?
Which is all corruption.
Yeah, but what about the colonies of? What about? You don't hear anything about Jamaica, the Cayman Islands.
Well, America crushed Jamaica
Belize.
and Haiti. We stick our noses over there. The people are able to feed themselves once upon a time. So we stuck our noses over there.
Just like the U.S. is sticking their nose into Iran, and I hear there are no, according to Dr. Gary Null, there is no proof of weapons of mass destruction.
Never has been. Never has been.
So you think this is?
It's oil.
It's about oil.
It's oil.
It's what?
Yeah, it's oil. Oil.
Sure ain't olive oil. That's what.
No, it ain't olive oil.
It's about oil.
It's crude, baby. Crude.
Crude.
Up through the ground come a bubbling crude.
Up from the ground come a bubbling crude. A black gold Texas tea. But so what you're trying to say is it's old-fashioned capitalist greed and lying to the media and lying to the people that there are weapons of mass destruction. And
well, we went through that with G.W. Bush, didn't we?
Right.
In Iraq.
So they're doing it with Iran. They're doing the same thing. Now, I posted something from Facebook from Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory page, showing the campaign contributions that went to Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, and they are both approximately the same.
The same people, yes.
And it would make an excellent printout if I ever got a chance to print it out, but it's over on our newsletter censored Facebook page, which is facebook.com/newsletter censored. Okay, now it's interesting how the problem is the two-party system. It's no longer the progressive liberal Democrat versus the greedy corporatist Republican. They're all in bed with Satan and corporations. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, now I want to talk about one last thing before we get on with the articles. All I have to say is there's a lot of evidence of this in videos and articles. And Dr. Gary Noah talks about it all the time. And this is not only the abuse of our livestock, in terms of our meat and poultry and dairy products, our food supply, and farm-raised aquacultured fish. Not only the abuse, but the unsanitary conditions created by the abuse, with the overcrowding, livestock sitting in their own filth, eating the same pre-made unnatural diet every day. Let's see, what else? Loaded with
cows eating meat.
Right, which cause mad cow disease. Livestock loaded with antibiotics and steroid hormones, and the list goes on and on. Abuse, the chickens are debeaked, cows, even dairy cows, are severely mistreated. The list goes on and on and on. It's not only abuse, a PETA violation, right? But it's also an unhealthy, unsanitary condition for our livestock food supply. So you have listened.
And all for a little bit more profit.
All in the name of greed, profit. Corporatism, corporate profit, corporate greed. That's all it is, at the expense of our health, the American citizens' health, all at our expense.
And the USDA are corrupt, and the FDA are corrupt, and in the pockets of those big corporations and agribusinesses.
Agribusiness, right.
Etc.
Uh-huh. Exactly. And this is where we're at. Dr. Gary No mentions it quite often. And there are plenty of videos on YouTube and online articles, as well as newspaper articles concerning that. But, you know, Dr. Bill, the sad part is, if the American citizens went to the right markets to purchase healthy organic food, it costs a fortune. And with this economy, people are forced to shop in the supermarket and buy the poison, you know?
Well, as Gary Null said the other day,
Veganism.
concerning GMOs.
Oh, okay.
Label it, and nobody will buy it. And that's why they don't label it.
Because it won't sell.
Correct.
Because people will
Same thing with their junk food that they sell us, you know, with the abuse and profit mongering and all the other stuff. If people really knew what was going on, they wouldn't buy it.
Only makes sense.
And that's where but since they own everything,
Right.
you know, some people are forced to buy. There's a lot of people who are forced to shop at Walmart. They do not do it by choice.
No. Let's say a poor family that's receiving food stamps and is maybe living on a fixed income because they can't find a job, a permanent job, full-time job that can pay the bills. You know, they're forced to live on an extremely tight budget, and they're forced to go to Walmart, not because they, at a principle that they're big fans of Walmart. It's because they have to. They have to go to Walmart, and well, the only thing that I'm happy about is that the farmers markets in our area are still the cheapest place to buy produce, but are they genetically modified produce? And then if you go and buy the non-genetically modified organic produce at, let's say, a Whole Foods, it costs a lot of money. It's very expensive for the average family. But this is where we're
And
at.
it should be the opposite.
Well, you know,
Because it takes all the money and everything to put the stupid pesticides on, to put the stupid fertilizer
Right.
on, to do this, that, and the other thing, that would run the tractor or whatever, this, that.
right.
So an organic farmer or whatever, and the food from the farm should be cheaper.
You would think so, because originally all food was produced locally and organically
Right.
with natural organic fertilizers
Yeah.
and without all the
A little bit
danger.
of chicken shit.
The list goes on and on. Cow manure, you know, I mean, this is the way our food was originally. So how come it's so expensive to buy an organic fruit, apple, or peach, or whatever, or nectarine? Why is it so expensive if that's the way everything was originally grown? And I'll tell you what it is. It's the deregulation, right, of business, where they can take the positive virtues of a product and they use it, and they're allowed to use it as an excuse to jack up the price, perhaps through marketing.
Well, they jack up the price because they can. They're the only people in the
Right.
business. There's four big food producers in America?
Mm-hmm.
And now American Airlines wants to merge with another airline. Well, the prices are going to go up when that happens. Monopolies can charge more because they can. Competition is when you got a whole bunch of people in the same business. Then you got competition. But America doesn't like competition. Our monopolies laws have been consigned to the the back room, in the closet somewhere. They're not used anymore.
Well, even the Republicans at one time used to talk against monopolies, but they've embraced it now.
Yeah, because that's the people who paid them.
That's the people who pay for their campaigns, right?
Yeah.
And when you have a monopoly, you have price gouging, right, Dr. Bill?
Right.
Price
Goes
gouging.
with the territory.
Okay.
You're the only business in town. And by the way, if America's the breadbasket of the world, what the hell do we got to import crap all this stuff from? For watermelons, oranges, mangoes, etc., etc.
International.
We produce our own.
Yeah, why do we need to import everything?
Well, we don't, but the
It's
way we
cheap.
make trade deals is, you know.
Well, because they get everything cheap from other countries. Why are all the office and customer service jobs all of a sudden in the Philippines, where they pay these people $1 per hour with probably no benefits.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know, $1 an hour, or mainland China with companies like Foxconn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, first article, please, sir. I'm just pouring my tea, folks. I'm not urinating. This is my antioxidant-rich tea, green tea, jasmine flavored with mixed berries, and peppermint.
Open sores, parasitic infections,
Yeah.
chewed up looking fins, gashes, mysterious black streaks. 2 years after the drilling rig explosion
Aha.
that touched off the biggest offshore oil spill in the United States history, scientists are beginning to suspect that fish in the Gulf of Mexico are suffering the effects of the petroleum.
Dr. Gary Noll was talking about that very subject this week. Don't consume Gulf seafood. Forget about that BP commercial that you see where the guy is saying, you know, the guy that talks like Bubba Gump, say, "Come on down.
Yeah.
The water's fine and the food is fine. Come on, eat our shrimp. I guarantee, eat our shrimp. Come on down." Don't believe it.
The evidence is nowhere near conclusive, but if those suspicions prove correct, it could mean that the environmental damage to the Gulf from the BP disaster is still unfolding, and the picture isn't as rosy as it might have seemed just a year ago. The damage may extend well beyond fish. In the past year, research has emerged showing deep water coral, seaweed beds, dolphins, mangroves, and other species of plants and animals are suffering. There is lots of circumstantial evidence that something is still awry. On the whole, it is not as much environmental damage as originally projected, but it doesn't mean that there's none. Reports of strange things with fish began emerging when fishermen returned to the Gulf weeks after BP's gushing oil well was capped during the summer of 2010. They started catching grouper and red snapper with large open sores and strange black streaks, lesions they said they had never seen. The illnesses are not believed to pose any health threat to humans. Still, it's clear to fishermen and researchers alike that something is amiss. A recent batch of test results revealed the presence of oil in the bile extracted from fish caught in August 2011. Nearly 15 months after the well blew out on April 20th, 2010, in a disaster that killed 11 men. Last summer, about 3% of about 4,000 fish caught for a federally funded study of 6 fish in shallow and deep Gulf waters had gashes, ulcers, and parasites, symptomatic of environmental contamination. The percentage rose to about 10% of mud-dwelling tilefish, caught in the DeSoto Canyon, northeast of the well. Laboratory work indicates that immune systems of the fish were impaired by an unknown environmental stress or contamination. Some of the things I've seen over the past year have never been seen before.
Yeah.
There's different changes, sores on the fish, changes in pigment, red snapper with large black streaks on it. Last year, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration advised fishermen to throw suspicious-looking fish back And fishermen say they have been doing that. At the same time, the Food and Drug Administration and state agencies say they have tested Gulf seafood extensively and found no problems. Researchers agree there is little cause for concern. It's not a people issue, and people should not be concerned about fish entering the market, said Steve Murawski, a marine biologist with the University of South Florida and a former chief science advisor for the National Marine Fisheries Service.
Very good article. And yeah, I've had tilefish before. I've cleaned it and staked it, filleted it.
Did you put them in your bathroom?
Yeah.
On the floor?
I recommended. I said wouldn't it be great if we had bathroom tiles to look like with images of tilefish on the bathroom tiles? No, but this is real serious. I mean, all done by greedy corporations. In this case, British Petroleum. All right, greedy corporations strike again, destroying the planet and our lives and our standard of living, our very survival. All right, what's next?
You know, it's very strange. Now you just bring that up. It just struck me strangely that people say they know, you know, they know their Bible and stuff. But they don't. Your evangelical Christians will say, "Oh no, God, we have dominion over the earth. We can do what we want. God said so." Etc.
That's an excuse.
But, well, excuse or not, the point is that they don't understand that once upon a time, before humans were created, God put 1/3 of the angels and Lucifer here on the earth to take care of it, to dress it, and to be, you know, one with it. They too thought they could do whatever they wanted and destroyed the earth and covered it with water and darkness and etc. And God had to come down and resurface the earth. It was toho and boho, void and in chaos. So obviously, God doesn't want you to go around destroying the earth. He wants you to take care of it and to dress it, as he told Adam and Eve in the garden.
Otherwise, we will be punished for it, which we are.
Well, we're being punished for it, you know,
Some will call it Gaia, others will call it God.
But the point is that they, you know,
Mother Nature.
this is not what we're supposed to be doing there. You know, destroying our environment.
No, I mean, hey, you know, if you have an aquarium and you don't take care of the aquarium and keep the water pure and clean,
There's a good example.
Your fish will
Your
become
ecology goes down the tube.
Yeah, your fish will become sick, diseased, and die. You know, the ammonia will build up. Nitrates. The ammonia will build up, and you'll have disease and sickness because it's a limited,
as is the earth,
specified contained environment. But just the same is with our oceans and with our atmosphere. Now the Republicans believe that the solution to pollution is dilution.
Yeah.
And they think that if you keep on diluting, everything bad will go away.
And the evangelicals have this idea that, well, don't worry about it because Jesus is going to come back and he's going to put all things right again.
And going to rapture everybody off the planet.
Yeah, rapture again. Here we go. I don't know that there's only 144,000 people on the earth. I think there's about 7 billion. So since only 144,000 are going to be raised in the twinkling of an eye and go up to meet Jesus as he comes down, there's a lot of billions still left down here
to go through
that aren't being raptured.
To go through the tribulation, you mean?
Well, they'll be going through it at that time. Rocker and gun rights champion Ted Nugent
Okay, rock star Ted Nugent, yes.
says he will meet with the Secret Service today to explain his remarks about what he called President Obama's evil.
Or did he just express an opinion of Obama, or was there an aggressive,
We will get to his comment.
threatening statement? All right, go ahead, continue.
He called President Obama's evil, America-hating administration. Comments some critics interpret as a threat against the president.
It's criticism. It's a right-wing criticism.
The conclusion will be obvious that I threaten no one, Nugent told radio interviewer Glenn Beck on Wednesday.
Oh, another right-winger, right?
Nugent said he'd been contacted by the agency and would cooperate fully, even though he found the complaints silly. The controversy erupted after the self-styled Motor City Madman made an impassioned plea for support for Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney during the National Rifle Association meeting in St. Louis last week.
Well, I'm sure they both get along. And Ted Nugent blows away animals in hunting, and Mitt Romney ties his dog to the roof of his car and drives for like 12 hours.
We need to ride into that battlefield and chop their heads in November,
Oh, gee.
Nugent said of the Obama administration.
That's a little threatening.
He also included a cryptic pronouncement. If Barack Obama becomes the next president in November again, I will be either dead or in jail by this time next year.
Now I understand why the Secret Service is concerned.
Yeah.
I got to call him like I see him, folks. I would if I was a Secret Service agent or head of the agency, I would be concerned with that statement.
First of all, Ted Nugent is an idiot, number one.
Well, he's an idiot for making a statement like that.
Not about making that statement, for being the person that he is. The gun lover that he is, etc.
Yeah, why does what is the see? I don't agree with any obsession, any fanaticism of any kind. First of all, it doesn't show an open mind. It shows a possibly psychological defect somewhere. What do you think? Fanaticism. People that are fanatically into one thing.
Outraged Democrats circulated the remarks and suggested they were threatening. Secret Service spokesman George Ogilvy confirmed that the agency was looking into the matter, but declined to give details. We are aware of the incident and we are taking appropriate follow-up. Nugent said he was simply trying to galvanize voters.
Yeah, right.
The hard rocker, best known for 70s hits like Cat Scratch Fever,
Cat Scratch Fever, da 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 da. Cat Scratch Fever
is a conservative activist.
Yeah, we know that.
And has a history of heated and sometimes vulgar criticism of Obama.
Well, the statements were not just to rally voters. They were threatening by nature. I have to call him like I see him. Ted Nugent is a nut. And, I've seen his stuff on TV about his hunting enthusiasm. And he is a tad bit too fanatical, to say the least, about blowing away animals. I mean, gee, what would happen, Dr. Bill, if animals had an even playing field instead of having their human predators with high-powered rifles from a distance with a scope just snipering them
there'd be a lot more people in crocodiles' bellies. Let me tell you.
Like that 22-foot, whatever was it, over 2,000-pound crocodile, cocodrillo, that they found in North Africa. Yeah, there would be a lot more human victims, and if animals had an even playing field, had a fair chance.
But one thing about people like Ted Nugent and etc. Before Obama was elected, their big cry was, "He's going to take away our guns. He's going to take away our guns."
Our guns. Yeah.
Well, the man has been in office for almost 4 years.
He hasn't taken away any guns.
Hasn't taken away anybody's guns. Where the hell did that come from?
No, if you are a honest, law-abiding citizen and you have a license to carry a shotguns and rifles, a hunting license, you can acquire your guns. I just don't think the law wants you to be able to acquire military type semi-automatic or automatic assault weapons,
Or bazookas.
or bazookas, or what do you call it? Rocket shoulder
Carried rocket propelled.
Yeah, rocket
whatever.
launchers and things that the military are
Shoot down
supposed
planes.
things that the military is supposed to have. I mean, that's all. I mean, granted, there's a lot of bad things going on in the United States and in the world, and people do have the right to bear arms, but they just don't want you to have anything too sophisticated designed for
We also
killing people in
we also want
large amounts.
what I guess Wyatt Earp in Tombstone wanted. Check your guns when you come into town, especially when you go to the saloon.
Yeah, where they play poker,
Yeah,
and there's cheaters there.
yeah.
Well, these cards are marked. But, I understand what they're saying. We don't want Dodge cities all over the United States.
Exactly.
Or that other, what is it, Deadwood, North Dakota? They had a TV series one time about that. That was another den of iniquity. Deadwood, North Dakota. Oh, by the way, I heard their sewer system was to simply throw everything in the dirt street.
Sounds like the Ganges.
The Ganges, yeah,
The Ganges.
the Wild Wild
India.
West. Yeah, they where the horses usually pooped. That's where everybody's little spittoons and little potties went right out the window, right on the street. Lovely,
Nice.
lovely thought.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
I am tired of the 1% and their Republican allies in government attacking the citizens of this country as if we were to blame for the country's economic ills, when it was their actions and their policies that got us into this mess to begin with. That is exactly what Governor Christie did in his speech last week to a group of conservatives. He blamed the people. The governor has proved where his loyalties lie. He and his allies among the 1% are engaging in a strategic effort to shift the blame of this economic crisis onto the victims, the American people, by labeling us a lazy rabble that would rather sit on our couches and collect government checks instead of working for a living. Did we ask to lose our jobs, our homes, our pensions, our health care benefits, and our pride? Christie should be propping his citizens up, not beating them down when they are desperate and struggling. This is not leadership.
he's a bully.
If the governor wants to attack the state of dependency, then let him attack the corporate welfare that is ruining this country. The people are under attack, and it is the privileged few who are driving it.
Yeah, why is welfare for the rich okay, but welfare for the people who really need it not okay?
Good question.
Doesn't sound fair.
Good question.
Sounds very unfair. Very one-sided. Very-
Yeah, so they don't want the rich to pay any taxes, but they want taxes to be taken out of people's unemployment checks. Well, that's really fair, isn't it?
Tax people's unemployment, but the rich don't pay taxes.
Right.
Oh yeah, that sounds really fair. Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And you people keep on voting in the two-party system. Got to get behind a good progressive independent. This is me prop. It is a black...
And did you hear the other, a week or so ago,
What?
Mr. Gary Null spent some time
Mm-hmm.
stating the fact
Right.
that the way to get to vote this time around is to write in the vote.
I heard that.
Thank you.
I heard that. I also
I've
heard...
been preaching that for how long?
I also heard him talk very, very positively about the grain quinoa from the Incas, nutritional
Well,
value.
people can eat quinoa after they vote
That's right.
and write it in.
After you write in your vote for a progressive independent. This is me prop. It is a blackthorn shillelagh imported from Ireland, weapons grade, with metallic four-leaf clovers on both sides. It helps me emphasize certain things. I like waving it around. Anyway, we have one small article before you go to lunch.
Senate Republicans derailed a Democratic Buffett rule bill Monday, forcing the nation's top earners to pay at least 30% of their income in taxes, using the day before Americans' taxes are due to defy President Obama on one of his signature election year issues. By a near party line 51 to 45 tally, senators voted to keep the bill alive but fell 9 votes short of the 60 needed to continue debating the measure. The anticlimactic outcome was no surprise to anyone in a vote that was designed more to win over voters and embarrass senators in close races than to push legislation into law.
Mm-hmm.
At the White House, Obama denounced the vote, saying Republicans chose once again to protect tax breaks for the wealthiest few Americans at the expense of the middle class. In a statement issued after the vote, he said he would keep pressing Congress to help the middle class. It's just plain wrong that millions of middle-class Americans pay a higher share of their income in taxes than some millionaires and billionaires. Republicans called the measure a divisive Democratic distraction from the nation's real problems that would not address the economy's real woes. This legislation will do nothing with regard to job creation, with regard to gas prices, with regard to economic recovery, said Senator John Kyle of Arizona, the number 2 Senate GOP leader. GOP means what?
The greedy old party.
Thank you.
And by the way, the greedy old party video slideshow, part 3, is starting to grow and fill up with new items.
Democrats' goal, he said, was to try to draw attention away from the issues that the American people are most concerned about. Senator Susan Collins of Maine was the only Republican to join Democrats in voting to keep the measure alive, arguing that it was a way to begin considering a badly needed broad revamping of the entire tax code.
Excellent, excellent article. It is now time for the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman's gastronomic delight known as lunch, and we will be back very shortly with promo. But you know, the taxes, man. I mean, we don't have a spending problem here in America. We have a lack of revenue problem because the rich.
We've had for the last 30 years or so.
Since Reagan shifted the tax burden from the rich to the middle class and the poor. We have a lack of revenue problem. The rich are not paying taxes. I don't even want to say just not only fair share, they're just not paying taxes. The 1%ers, right? The 1%.
They pay taxes. But, like I said in the article, Once upon a time in the 50s it was 91%.
Right.
In the 70s it was 74%. Under Reagan he dropped it 28%. Had to push it up again because they were running out of money. Then it was 35% under H.W. Bush.
Oh, H.W. Bush.
Clinton raises it to 39.5%, and there's no deficit at the end of his tenure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no
interesting.
deficit.
No deficit at the end of his.
Yeah.
And he was
surpluses for like 2 or 3 years.
And he was a conservative Democrat, more or less, right? And
yeah, but the point was he raised taxes, and that's what brought in the revenue. See?
And there was no deficit.
Yeah.
There was a surplus, right?
Then George E. Bush, he comes in here and gives us 8 years of tax cuts.
GW, right?
Obama renews them, allows them to be renewed.
Oh, boy.
That's 10. And now it's 2 years later. That's 12 years of tax cuts. And where's the jobs? So obviously that lie should be put to rest. R.I.P. Rest in peace. That tax cuts create jobs.
Jobs are overseas. They're outsourced. Yeah. Tax cuts for the rich. Read my lips, middle class that like to vote for Republicans. Tax cuts. Hold on. Tax cuts for the rich do not create jobs in the United States. Only in third world countries where they pay them peanuts like $1 an hour or 31 cents an hour in China. Period.
Yeah. Well, the point is that in the old days, with those high tax margins, the rich took the money and they put it back into the business, and more businesses in America created more jobs. Now, with their overflow of no taxes, that money does not come back into the business. You got people like Mitt Romney with Bain Capital, where they buy up businesses and then destroy them and lay off people and fire people, and there's no more business. All because we are now finances. I heard some stuff the other day that like GMC and Ford have their financial sections when you go buy a car, and you get credit for them.
Yeah.
Those sections are making more money, or we're making more money than selling the cars.
I mean, interest, collecting interest.
Yeah. So that's what's been happening. That's why the financial sector has gotten all this power of late. See? And all that power brought us to our knees in 2008.
Right, and like Dr. Garino says, if China wanted to, they can take all the American money, American dollars that it possesses, and do something internationally that would bring the United States to its knees. Right? You mentioned what China is capable of doing in that respect.
Well, yeah, because they have reserves of money, and they buy our bonds, and that brings the money back to us, and they don't have to do that.
No, they got the United States by the short hairs, or by the couillons, as we say in Italian. Couillons, Ballinis, or whatever, cojones. All right, listen. Time for a quick break. We're back. While the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is partaking in his gastronomic delight known as lunch, which happens to be high protein and low carb, the way it should be, I'll do a little promo. This guy next to me, this gentleman next to me, you see this painting? This is a self-portrait of my co-host and mentor, the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. The Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman is a fine watercolor and gouache artist. You can see the William J. Eisenman collection. That's right, the William J. Eisenman collection by going to Google and typing in those words, and you will see his entire collection on a slideshow to Caribbean steel drum music. You can also go to our Newsletter Censored Facebook profile and see the entire William J. Eisenman collection in an album. And if you see something you like, send him an email at newslettercensored.com. Ask him if the painting is still available, and you can purchase it, with your gift to support this work. The bidding usually starts at $500 each, but make him a good offer. Now, where are we? Where is this thing? There we go. This is the very foundation of our organization. This is the backbone of our organization. This is the very best way to be a part and join our organization. It was founded, Newsletter Censored was founded in 1977 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman. It contains the 5 taboos of American life, which is politics, religion, human sexuality, health, and child rearing. It is the type of information that most people are afraid to hear. Can you handle it? So what you need to do to join our organization and to learn how to defeat a conservative and how to survive the end times, because we are living in the end times, is simply go to newslettercensored.com, click on the printable order form, and with your gift to support this work, get your free annual subscription to Newsletter Censored. Okay? It contains a lot of information. This is the new issue that's out. What is this? 119?
Yeah.
119. No rules, no orders, no regulations, by William J. Eisenman, PhD. All right? And followed by, if there's room, sometimes there's tidbits, which is current news topics and articles. But in this case, we have The God Project by William J. Eisenman, Doctor of Divinity. And this is where the Reverend Dr. Bill teaches you what the Bible really has to say, and not what right-wing fundamentalists, counterfeit Christians tell you what the Bible says, because they're trying to rewrite the Bible. Okay. And then last but not least is, where are we? Sexuality, a holistic approach by William J. Eisenman, PhD. That is an added bonus at the end of the newsletter. So it's all here. There's more information in our newsletter than there is on our talk shows or on our websites. You need Newsletter Censored. You need Newsletter Censored in the end times, and to learn how to defeat a conservative and save America, hopefully. And it's just extremely informative. You're not going to read, just like you're not going to hear from our shows, you're not going to read anything like this in the mainstream media or the press. Okay, so get your free annual subscription with your gift to support this work right after you watch this show. Okay, you need Newsletter Censored. There's nothing else like it, believe me. One of a kind. Now, that takes care of that. I just want to tell you that if you go to newslettercensored.com, you will see Dr. Bill for President. Yes, he is running for the 3rd time, I believe, as a progressive independent. And the Reverend Dr. Bill will teach you how to write in a candidate and not be a victim to corrupt, rigged electronic voting booths. And, and
a slave to the two-party system.
And a slave to the two-party system, which is in bed with the elitists. And also, if you go to newslettercensored.com, you will see our hard-hitting internet talk radio station link at the top. And there you can go, if we're not on the air, you can go to the Cyber Church of God, and you can view the video playlists of censored on-demand archive classics and the God Project on demand. All archive classics on video. You just select what you want to hear, listen to it as many times as you want. You can pause it, take a break, come back, whatever you want to do. You never miss a show with Newsletter Censored and Mega Life 21. Never. Tonight, I was supposed to do a show. I don't know if we're going to do it because we might not all be available, but we were supposed to do a show later tonight for Honest Craft Beer Reviews with the founder and owner John Starodomsky and the one and only Red Rooster. But Red Rooster might not be able to make it. It's his wife's birthday, but he might if we do it late. But we got to play it by ear. But I know that the Renaissance man, the evangelist Ken Create, wants to do a show about concerning what does salvation mean to you, and Paul's letters and things of that nature. Grace versus good works, or the law, grace versus the law. He wants to do a show. So I will be available to do that later on tonight after I run my errands. So how was your lunch, sir?
Delicious.
Good. Good. You ever did I ever get you the non-GMO organic texturized soy protein to stretch your meat, to stretch your meatballs or meatloaf or hamburgers? It's the ultimate hamburger helper when you think about it. You know, Whole Foods. I get it from Whole Foods. All you have to do is let it sit in water, and you have a stretcher right there. Non-GMO soy protein.
I like my hamburger. Full hamburger.
100%.
100%
USDA grade A.
USDA grade A.
Without the pink slime.
Without pink slime. Now, last night,
Hold on.
you're speaking about evangelicals and Christian thought and all this stuff. I was looking at many videos last night about people who supposedly died, went to hell, and came back to tell us about it.
It seems like the people that think that they can talk to God and have a conversation with Him and pray to Him, they also feel that if your heart stops, your body kind of like hovers above your carcass and can travel and go back to its body again, and they believe in the immortal soul that can fly around.
Obviously.
And they believe in a sort of midway between heaven and hell.
However,
Yeah, they have a different belief than Herbert W. Armstrong had.
let's not talk about belief when we're talking about these things, because
Right.
anybody can believe anything they want.
Well, Marshall Applewhite
But
believed...
if you are going to say, I am a Christian,
Right.
and I believe in hell, then I am going to palm slap you in the face and say, where's your proof? Because it's not from the Bible.
Well, yeah, well, what...
This place, they all describe this place of smoke and sulfur and fire and tortured humans for eternity.
What is this place that they also call paradise?
Well, they certainly weren't in paradise at that particular time.
No.
No.
I'm sorry. Oh, this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
you know, they,
One or two.
Uno.
Okay.
They had these whatever they had,
Right.
delusions
Right.
of these places, and obviously the descriptions were quite the same.
Right.
And then, of course, I was looking at this. I know there's another kid that supposedly went to heaven, and then there's another kid I looked at last night, Mr. Burpo's son.
Burpo?
Burpo. The other one was
Malarkey.
Malarkey, yeah,
Which was a lot of malarkey in your opinion, right?
yeah,
Kevin
And-
Malarkey? I
yeah.
think it was Kevin Malarkey. That was an old show that we did.
And the kid was describing, what went on in heaven and all that sort of stuff. But again, none of these things, and the heaven that they describe. I mean, there is a heaven in the Bible. It's where God lives, and etc. But
Maybe-
not the place.
Yeah.
Not the place where humans go with immortal souls to play harps all day. That's not in the Bible.
Maybe Mr. Burpo had too much gas, and the gas
Well, he
caused
was only a young child at the
called
time.
hallucinations, huh?
He was a young child at the time and had a
Okay.
busted appendix,
Oh,
and it happened, during the
surgery.
operation.
Oh, okay.
surgery. So, but my only point is that these people go out on these shows, the 700 Club, and these religious shows,
Pat Robertson,
and
right?
they
So-
spout this nonsense, and it has no basis in the Bible. Hell has no basis in the Bible.
And the immortal soul leaving your body and flying around.
And the immortal soul is not in the Bible. If the immortal soul was in the Bible, why would we need to be resurrected?
Sounds like a bunch of hooligans.
Wow.
Is there a ballpark around here? I don't
Not
think so.
right here, over there.
Oh. Anyway, yeah. So they believe in the immortal soul. They believe that you can have a conversation and pray to God, and they claim it's in the Bible. And like what you told me, basically is what Herbert W. Armstrong said, which they go against, is that only God's only concerned with the 144,000 that is to rule in Jerusalem after the second coming of
At this
Jesus,
time.
right?
At this time. They'll rule through the millennium.
And 144,000 minus how many billions are on the planet Earth is not that many people.
Yeah. So not that many people are going to be, to use their word, raptured.
Well, I think the crazy old fool Harold Camping used to mention the 144,000 also. So at least he agreed with you on one point.
Well, that's not agreement. Just because you know something is in the Bible, you don't know what it means. You don't know what it portends.
Yeah.
You know?
Like he used to say when
People know about the mark of the beast in the Bible, but they don't know what it is.
Right.
They don't know who the beast is,
Right.
and they don't know who the other beast is, the man
an-
beast,
The Antichrist?
the human beast.
The human beast.
And they don't know who the Antichrist is. I saw a guy last night saying Barack Obama was the Antichrist.
Because of the Hebrew words, the Aramaic words for Satan, the description of Satan, the Aramaic words sounded like Barack Obama. If that video, by the way, I think I put it on the newsletter censored Facebook page. I'm almost positive I put it there. So if you want to check it out, it's on YouTube. It's called Did Jesus Name Who the Antichrist Was? Something of that nature. Did Jesus name the Antichrist? But anyway,
Anyway, it's a bunch of bogus crap.
Bible interpretation can be right in your face, plain as day, or it can be very complex and deep. Like, for instance, Harold Camping insisted that when the Bible mentioned a fig leaf, it represented ancient Israel. Something like that. How do you get ancient Israel?
Where did you get the fig leaf from?
The words fig leaf had representation on the mountains, and mountains it did not literally mean mountains, and everything meant.
Mountains usually mean a government.
In the Bible?
In the Bible. A woman means a church. Very
Okay.
simple stuff.
And when they say the bride, there was one time that we were
The bride is
the bride
church.
of Christ.
Jesus.
The bride of Christ. What is the difference between the bride of Christ and the body of Christ?
They're both the same.
They're both the
They're
same.
the church.
It means the church.
Yeah. The
And-
church. All the people
Right.
in the church, those people that
Yeah.
are going to be raptured up, using their word again.
Right. Now they're putting it in different.
That is the marriage.
They're putting the words "the bride of Christ" and "the body of Christ" into two different dispensations, two different time periods in the Bible. So,
Well, it depends on when it's occurring, and it depends on what it's referring to. But it's referring to the body of Christ is the church.
the church,
Yeah. And the bride of Christ is the church.
right? And Satan does work through the churches.
Well, Satan corrupted the churches.
Yeah.
That's what Paul's letters are all about. Trying to keep the churches at that time from being corrupted.
Yeah.
He wrote to Corinthians. He wrote to Ecclesiastes. All of the churches.
And he will come to you as an angel of light, and it's not far-fetched for somebody that supposedly feels your pain to possibly be the Antichrist. It's not far-fetched at all.
Forget about the Antichrist, because
It's not time yet.
no, it's not that important. The beast is the Holy Roman Empire. There will be a beast dictator
Mm-hmm.
who will probably be considered the Antichrist. But also being considered the Antichrist will be Jesus when he's coming down and returning, because he will be considered an alien, and it will be considered an invasion.
Well, the Holy Roman Empire, the last revival,
The last revival
Of
of
the
the
Holy-
Holy Roman
will
Empire will
be-
be the beast.
will be most likely the Roman Catholic Church.
No, the Roman Catholic Church will ride astride it,
Oh, okay.
guide it,
Okay.
control it, as in Revelation 17.
With
The woman sitting upon the beast.
And that's the King of the North, right?
The beast is the king of the north.
King of the North, which will most likely, according to you, be the European Union.
It's not according to me. Stop with me. I have nothing to do
All right,
with it.
according to the Bible, well, it doesn't say European Union, it just says King of the North, right?
It's very clear. It's the Holy Roman Empire.
Right.
It doesn't have to say European Union. It happened 6 times in history that there was such a thing as a Holy Roman Empire. And at those 6 times, it was joined with the church.
Right.
And therefore, it will be that again. So you have to be a little bit Sherlock Holmes and use a little bit of deductive reasoning.
And if there's a historic pattern, then the
Jeez.
deductive reasoning is obvious. If there's a historic pattern, which there is,
Yeah.
it's obvious. If it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, looks like a duck, is a duck.
It's not a possum.
It's not a possum. It's not a salamander. Unless it's a newt.
Then it's a Gingrich.
Did he quit, by the way?
Not
Gingrich?
yet. She was saying something about it, but I didn't get it.
Well, you know what? In a way, it's good that he didn't quit, because it gives comedians like David Letterman material to continue. It's too bad we can't beat up on Rick Santorum anymore.
Well,
But
I'm sure he won't go away.
Nah, right-wing fundamentalists like to stick their Pinocchio nose in everything, just like Chris Christie likes to stick his Pinocchio belly and nose in everything, and do more traveling outside of New Jersey than he does spending time in New Jersey. You know, he has an agenda.
Well, he's trying to probably become VP for Mr. Mitster.
Yeah, it was up, you know, he would make a perfect dictator. He would make a perfect, like, a king that is not very nice. If we had imperialism again, feudalism.
We do have it.
With the corporate plutocracy, it is a form of feudalism, imperialism. There you go.
Once upon a time, the king owned all the money. And the army. And everything else.
And the forests, and you couldn't hunt in the king's forest.
Yeah.
Just like they oppressed the Irish, the royal family of England. The Irish they had to till, and they had to live off of a little patch of land. They couldn't own any industry at all.
Sharecropper.
Yeah, just little tiny little plots or whatever. Very bad situation.
Give to the king.
And that's why. And then the King of England, believe it or not, outlawed this weapons grade shillelaghs, because the Irish they had a form of martial arts where they learned stick fighting. They learned how to use it. And they made it illegal, and then they went to the walking stick shillelagh to make it legal, quote unquote. The walking stick ornamental blackthorn. But anyway, it's much nicer than Judge Judy's gavel, isn't it? So what do we got here, Chief? We got a nice, juicy, hard-hitting political article. You know, hammer corporate America.
State officials are warning consumers about a new scam involving highly detailed and realistic-looking checks purportedly from the Department of Treasury.
Like the one I showed.
That are in fact bogus.
Like the one I showed from Glenn Toyota of Fair Lawn, New Jersey.
At least one person in Ohio received a fraudulent $3,800 state check.
Uh-oh.
That came with a letter explaining the check was being sent for a mystery shopper assignment. The recipient was instructed to deposit the check, keep $200, and wire the balance to two separate Western Union locations, supposedly to evaluate the Western Union services. This fake check, purporting to be from the state treasury, is a new twist on what is known as the cashier's check scam. This is the latest example of an emerging trend in which con artists send out official-looking documents, falsely using the names of government agencies to fool victims. Consumers need to be suspicious of any letter or email that says they've won a prize or a legal settlement or offers them free money. The cashier's check is worthless, and once it bounces, the depositor loses whatever amount has been transferred to the scammer. This is the latest in a growing trend of crooks using official-looking documents to carry out their scams. We are seeing with more and more frequency that technology makes it easier than ever for con artists to create phony legal documents, checks, and even websites that mimic those of government entities or businesses. Consumers should stop and verify the truth of any communication that asks them to send money or their bank account or other sensitive information to a third party. Last month, the Attorney General's office warned about crooks sending a fake legal document purporting from the state to people claiming they were eligible to collect money from a fictitious multi-million-dollar legal settlement. Recipients were instructed to send emails or call a special number, where presumably the con artist would try to get them to divulge confidential information like bank account numbers.
Yeah.
In February, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission warned investors of similar scams, in which fraudsters posing as SEC employees called victims over the phone and offered large sums of money if the victims would transfer smaller amounts of money into a specific account.
It's been windy out there.
Each of these government imposter scams includes information that at first appears to be official and accurate, but does not hold up under closer scrutiny. Consumers should not call any numbers that may be on the communication itself, but instead find the government agency's real contact information separately,
Right.
via the agency's website or by telephone, to learn whether the letter is real. Consumers who believe they have been cheated or scammed can file a complaint with the DCA by visiting its website or by calling 800-242-5846, toll free, within New Jersey.
Well, I just want to say to everyone out there, after this article that you just heard, anyone, I don't care who you are, if you should ever receive an email from a legitimate organization, it could be PayPal, it could be your bank, it doesn't matter, because scammers are able to replicate the home page of a reputable company. If you should ever get anything that looks just like your bank or PayPal or whatever, that asks you for your personal information, for you to relog, to update, supposedly update your personal information, even one bit of your personal information, what you do is email this request to your actual bank or to actually PayPal or whatever it is, to make sure it's not fraudulent. Because I did that one time, fraud protection, website. Email address, and they told me it was a scam, and they made it look exactly like the bank's legitimate page.
Mm-hmm.
So people can be fooled very easily. Look at it this way, people. If your personal information has not changed, and the bank or PayPal, let's say, already has your personal information, and it has not changed, and it does not need any updating, then why on earth would you need to send them the same personal information again? It doesn't make sense. It's common sense. If they have it, and you haven't moved and nothing has changed, your account number is the same, why update it? So you got to use your head, Anyway, next article.
Georgia Governor Nathan Deal has signed legislation that would require thousands of people applying for welfare to pass a drug test before they could receive their benefits.
So Governor Nathan Deal is making a big deal out of this whole thing, isn't he? Is he a Republican, by the way?
The Republican-controlled legislature...
This is why. They're using excuses not to pay people their welfare.
passed the law
Passed it.
over the opposition of Democrats.
Now, what does that mean if the person happens to be addicted to some narcotic? If they're still poor, right?
Backers say it will ensure that welfare benefits are used for their intended purpose and not to subsidize drug use and criminal activity.
Well, that kind of makes sense.
Democrats said the measure places an unfair burden on the poor. A similar law in Florida took effect last July, but was blocked in October by a federal judge who cited constitutional concerns.
Yeah, most possibly, sure.
Why doesn't the House and the Senate take drug tests before we pay them?
There you go. They're so-called public servants. Why aren't they given the drug tests?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Does the American Legislative Exchange Council have overwhelming gall, or does it have complete disdain for the intelligence of New Jerseyans? Recently, ALEC has endured a storm of criticism of its agenda to subvert government as we know it. Finally, the press is casting light on the goals and tactics of this heretofore stealth organization. Major corporate sponsors are bailing out. They realize that being publicly associated with a pressure group like ALEC is not good for business. Caitlin Buss, ALEC's Director of Communications, is trying to head off criticisms by lashing out at government in general, and New Jersey's government in particular. To find the reason why New Jersey needs ALEC's help, Buzz points to a report called Rich States, Poor States. This so-called survey ranks New Jersey 45th out of 50 states. If Buzz could point to real surveys that show New Jersey lacks what it takes to be a good place to live, she might have a cogent point. But personal income, educational attainment, high school graduates going to college, environmental protection, none of these is part of ALEC's agenda. ALEC doesn't like that New Jersey doesn't always place corporate interests ahead of the welfare of individuals. And ALEC seeks to change that. Some history of the right wing in the United States. Middle-class benefits were fought for and achieved by the Democratic Party with great opposition from the Republican Party. Legislation opposed by right-wing ideologues includes women's suffrage and Social Security, unemployment compensation, rural electrification, federal home loan program, the 40-hour work week, the minimum wage and overtime pay, workplace safety,
Yeah, OSHA.
the GI Bill,
There you go.
the Civil Rights Act, Medicare and Medicaid, and now health insurance reform.
Right.
Give mean-spirited Republicans more power, and you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah. It's like Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol when he says that it's better off that the poor perish to decrease the surplus population, right? Some statement of that nature was made. You know?
Everything the Republicans have ever stood for after the 1950s has been against the little guy.
All those
And
programs.
guess who votes for Republicans?
Middle class?
The little guy.
The little guy.
Yeah, because you know why?
Shoots himself in the foot.
Family values.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Americans have, among others, they have one of their biggest faults is they are right-wing. A lot of Americans, especially in out west and down south in the so-called Bible Belt states, are right-wing fundamentalist, zealot, religious nuts that only vote based on their ideology, not on proven scientific fact, not on the economy, not on survival, okay, not on proven facts that show, what is going on really in this country, but based on their crazy cultist religious ideology. And if somebody says something that goes contrary to what their pastor is saying, they won't vote for that person. If they say pro stem cell or gay marriage or abortion, pro-choice, they won't vote for that person. But meanwhile, the jobs continue to be outsourced. The rich continue not to pay taxes. And, of course it's the little guy because that votes for these Republicans that now have control of Congress, because, that's where the masses are. And they do it. And they're lied to, and they are deluded, and it's like
deceived. Revelation 12:9. They are deceived.
They're deceived, but it's really common
by the angel of light.
But it's really common sense not to vote for a right-wing Republican if you're middle class, because
if you're anything.
Well, you know what I think it is?
The rich.
The Republicans tell the middle class that everything is the fault of tax and spend Democrats, tax and spend liberals, and that is why, and they continue to tell them that cutting taxes from the rich and corporations creates jobs in the United States, which is
that's only recent stuff.
It's a complete lie.
That's recent stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff was never on the agenda before, except it was never a big public thing. Their agenda, which motivates the little guy, is the family values. There can never be a Democrat that is anything but a demon, a baby killer, a secular humanist. You can't get around this stuff. And that's why the little guy votes for a Republican.
Based on family values.
Yeah, because the Republicans pretend that they are more religious than Democrats.
But it's the religious beliefs are not going to put food on their table and a roof over their head and give them a job.
Well, that's obvious, but obviously they, in their deception, maybe they've been in their deception for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They obviously don't get it.
So what you're saying is mainstream America should be voting based on the economic results, as opposed to family values, and they're only voting family values.
Well, those people are, that 35% of the Republican Party are voting family values. It's the same thing. If you got all of these millions of people who believe these things that these pastors and everyone else are saying that come from the Bible, well, how are you going to change that mind? How are you going to move them around? It's one thing to educate someone who is deceived. It's another thing to educate someone with an open mind. And guess which task is easier?
The open mind?
The open mind.
Independent free thinkers with an open mind. Those are the easiest people to
learn,
to educate, and to get to vote for the right person.
Well, those people that we're talking about continue to vote against their own interests, and they don't get it.
No, we might as well finish
because
it.
they have this idea that they are doing something better than themselves by voting for someone who is for family values. But you know what is a family value? A decent wage. And guess who was against that? Let's see, minimum wage and overtime. The right wing was against that.
It was against the 40-hour work week, the workplace safety, the GI Bill, Civil Rights Act, Medicare and Medicaid, health insurance, unemployment compensation, rural electrification, federal home loan program, women's suffrage, and Social Security. Everything that benefits the little guy, and guess who the little guy gives his allegiance to? Sieg Heil!
The fascist right wing Republicans, which are the soldiers of Satan. You know.
Governor Christie never cited his intentions to dismantle so much of New Jersey. He is using the weapon of a 2% state-imposed cap on property tax increases to dismantle home rule. The Rutgers-Rowan conflict to dismantle the New Jersey higher education's mission. A salary cap on public school superintendents' pay to dismantle a key element of a free market system and the New Jersey Teach Act. And charter schools to dismantle the public education system as we know it. His failure to reappoint state Supreme Court Justice John Wallace and his outspoken criticism of court decisions sabotage the state's judicial system. He is dismantling social programs. He dismantles dissent by calling opponents idiots, jerks, and pigs at the trough. He dismantles tax fairness with a 10% income tax. Christie dismantles New Jersey to place himself on the mantle of the National Republican Party. Slowly but surely, America is being consumed by fear. We carry weapons, open or concealed, the right to do so willingly bestowed on us by our lawmakers. We are subjected to embarrassing personal intrusions simply to board an airplane. If affordable, we live in gated communities. Racism and misogyny are boiling over.
That's hatred for women, right?
And well, misogyny can.
Misogyny.
I would say it might apply to a lot of people. Browns, and blacks, and
it's
women.
a form of bigotry.
It's a form of bigotry, like racism. Racism and misogyny are boiling over in individuals, police departments, and politicians. Now, even the United States Supreme Court has seemingly surrendered to that same fear. A woman in Washington, D.C. was arrested and strip searched for eating an apple on a metro train a while ago.
Yeah, but an apple just leaves with a little biodegradable core. What is the problem with an apple? It's fruit.
Maybe they were afraid she put the apple up somewhere.
What do you mean?
Up her ass.
Why would somebody pull an apple out of their ass?
Well, the cops might have thought it was fun. I don't know.
But I don't understand. It's a snack. It's a natural fruit. You
can't eat it on the train.
You can't eat an apple on a train?
No, I don't think so. That's what it's all about.
What, are they afraid there was a bomb inside the apple?
Albert Florence endured a strip search upon being arrested for paying a fine 1 week later.
Doesn't make sense.
His appeal led to the Supreme Court decision allowing strip searches at any and all arrests, however the minor charge.
It's a lot of air traffic today.
This is one more case that goes against individual rights and freedoms for all, the sake of some insist is public safety.
I think it's just an excuse to raise more revenue, to extort more revenue for the city.
What has happened to us? So that we see danger around every corner, an enemy under every rock, a criminal inside every sweatshirt hood, an undesirable in every black skin or Muslim garb. Why are we afraid of our own shadows? We don't even stop to consider if our fears are substantiated. We are being pushed under the thumb of a creeping form of totalitarianism.
That's right.
Yet we are complacent in the imagined security that our government says it is providing us. Politicians, pundits, and media of the political far right tell us why we should be afraid. Be very afraid. Or whatever it is that they themselves dislike or fear. These charges are not challenged by those who know better, and the political extremists increase their grip on our lives. It's a slippery slope, taking us to a situation of which we should all be terribly, terribly afraid.
Well, I notice a pattern here. I am very happy to see our local newspaper posting many anti-right-wing conservative articles for quite a while now. I'm very happy to see.
Yeah, but the right wing is firing back and saying, "Oh, you is too liberal."
Well, why is the truth a bad thing?
The truth is liberal. That's why.
Well, isn't the truth what can be proven? And
The truth goes against their beliefs, their ideology.
but their ideologies and their beliefs are not based on fact. They're lies.
That's correct. That's why they don't like it.
Too damn bad.
They don't like the truth of the Bible. They don't like the political truths. They don't like the truth of the poor. They don't like the truth of whatever. So they don't have to abide by it. They put out their own truth. It's called propaganda.
I mean, there are many theories in life, but there are many proven facts in life too. And just because. So what you're saying is because the right wing are in a position of power because of money, they feel that they can twist and distort and alter and corrupt the law and the rules.
Remember the fairy tale of the emperor and his clothes?
The emperor without clothes? I never heard that one.
This emperor was sold a bill of goods by a tailor or whatever.
Bill of goods?
Invisible clothes. It was no clothes.
It's like
But they sold it to the emperor. And the emperor went out parading it around.
naked.
Naked! But who was going to say anything?
But was he?
Who was going to say anything?
But was he hallucinating about that the clothes existed? Why didn't he see? Did he see
He was
clothes?
probably taken advantage of and did not wish to admit it.
Doesn't sounds
Well,
stupid.
it sounds like the right wing
Sounds
to me.
stupid. Something that somebody sold him, something that does not exist,
Correct.
and he was
As the
stupid.
right wing is being sold their ideology, which does not exist.
And he made believe he put on clothes that weren't there,
That's correct.
even
And
though he
nobody said anything because he was so powerful, except the little child. The little child who saw the truth and said he didn't have any clothes on. I'm sure he lost his head, the child, for telling the truth.
Yeah, and the king, I don't know how the king bought something that was not visible or not tangible, but anyway, remember the movie Liar Liar with
Pants on fire.
Jim
Your
Carrey.
nose is longer than a telephone wire.
No, Jim Carrey, the comedian Jim Carrey, plays a lawyer
You can't lie.
that lied profusely all his life, and some I think his son, because every time he promised that he would go to his son's, let's say, little league baseball game, and every time his son was involved in a sporting event or something important from school, his father promised that he would show up, and because his father was always busy making money, his father never really showed up at his son's events, and he would make promises that he couldn't keep. So what happened was the kid just got so upset with his father making false promises that he made a wish of some kind that his father can only tell the truth all the time. So they show his father in the courtroom, and everywhere his father went, his father told the truth, which totally
Screwed up a lot of people.
screwed up his clients, especially the shifty, shady clients that he had. Screwed up everything, you know. And there was a scene. Jim Carrey is going into an elevator, and this very attractive young lady with large breasts goes in the elevator and says, "Gee, everybody in this building is just so nice to me." So Jim Carrey says, "Yeah, that's because you have big breasts." And then she slaps him. Which, you know, so what he was doing was it was a spell. He always had to tell the truth. And that's that, you know, and
Oh, would it be that way with Republicans?
you mean like a Pinocchio syndrome, a Pinocchio spell?
Well, you know, if they were forced to tell the truth all the time, they wouldn't be Republicans anymore.
Well, if two-party system politicians were like Pinocchio, they would not be able to stand up because their noses would be so damn long. They'll be poking each other.
Thing of it is, though, would that deter people from actually voting for them?
Americans are a very peculiar, strange species of creature, aren't they?
Yeah.
They complain to high heavens about how things are going, but they keep on voting for the same two-party system people because somehow they're brainwashed to believe that only a member of the two-party system is qualified enough to run the cities, the states, and the country. Maybe they feel that an independent is not qualified to run.
Actually, qualifications never really enter into elections.
Charisma,
Charisma,
the gift
the
of gab.
the ability to own the voting area.
So if you can pump enough bullshit political advertisement often enough, and you can afford it,
You should win.
and you make your opponent look real bad, you win.
That's what they did with. That's what the Swift boats did to Kerry.
So Nazi Germany, if you repeat a lie often enough,
And big
eventually,
enough.
huh?
And big enough.
A
The
big
bigger the
enough.
lie,
A big,
the
yeah,
bigger the lie. You know.
big lie, and often enough, eventually the people will believe the lie to be true,
That's correct.
and
That's what Fox News does every day.
that's what Fox News is doing. See, and
The fiction channel.
yeah, the Bill O'Reillys, was it Sean Hannity,
Sarah Palin. Well, Oliver North. G. Gordon Liddy.
yeah.
Crooks,
Now who's
traitors.
this new female Republican senator? There was an article on Yahoo. She's from some western state. She's a Tea Party. Call her a Tea Party princess.
Ooh.
The woman. All these attractive women that are turning to conservative politics. It's very unusual because women's rights are really supported by progressives, right? Traditionally.
We just read it.
Now why on
Women's
earth?
suffrage
Why on
was a
earth?
Democratic thing, not Republican.
Then where are all these
So where did he get their support?
attractive female politicians running as Republicans? Where are they all coming from? Since women's rights are backed by progressives and liberals, I mean, I don't know what's happening with these female Tea Party right-wing Republicans, politicians.
Revelation 12:9, they are deceived.
They're obsessed with family values. They think the problem, they're brainwashed into believing that America's problems are a moral issue, family values issue, by these right-wing fundamentalist zealots, these religious nuts.
And if we just put, in God we trust on our money, God will love us.
we'll get a blessing.
Oh, indeed we will.
In God we trust on our money. You mentioned the word nailing, Sarah nailing Palin. And I want to show you why I think she is the human slide whistle. I know you've seen this before. And then we got the warbling effect. That's what Sarah Nailing Palin sounds like. Actually, that's what the other chick sound like too. Bachman. What was it first name?
Michelle Bachman.
Michelle Bachman. You know, and all that stuff. All those the conservative coven.
Monica Crowley.
The conservative.
Ann Coulter.
Ann Coulter. Jan Brewer.
Bruce Brewer, yeah.
With the big Cheshire cat grin.
Except she's not one of the good-looking ones.
No, she's not. No.
Like Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
The one in California you were referring to.
What about the witch, Christine the Witch O'Donnell? Remember her?
Well, she's nothing now.
The slut O'Donnell.
She's nothing now.
The conservative coven of witches. It used to be Linda McMahon, Lunchbox. Linda the Lunchbox McMahon. Remember her? You know, we got to create jobs in America. We need jobs. Meanwhile, the jobs are all either, they pay shit with no benefits, or they're outsourced. I mean, don't count on a Republican that hires you. Don't count on them to pay you very well and give you any benefits. I'm sure Mitt Romney's, he gets off on firing people, right?
That's what he said.
Oh, that really does wonders for the job market. Firing people, right? But anyway, joining us for this week's Progressive Discussions. You have just seen Progressive Discussions, volume number 116. Yes, 116th. They're not all on video, but it's what we did. So, the number is the number. It's only a number. But I am happy that we have been playing on the Mega Life 21 Hard Hitting Truth Internet Talk Radio station. We have been playing Newsletter Censored, The Real Truth, every Thursday and Friday. So you're getting 2 days, 2 whopping days of the Reverend Dr. William J. Eisenman from 2 p.m. to around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we've been getting a big turnout of listeners since I've been playing you 2 days in a row. The backbone of our organization. Thank you. Say so long to these people.
So long, these people.